Wake up, buy here, pay here people. It's a beautiful day. Go grab yourself another cup of joe and say hello to Jim and Michelle Rhoads on the Buy Here, Pay Here Morning Show. Take it away, you two.
Yes, good morning.
Welcome to the studio in Utah.
Friday or TGIF
Right.
or all of those kind of
Yeah,
things.
we're headed into a long weekend.
Yeah, it's Memorial Day weekend. Already went in Utah,
Mhm.
and this is how I was raised. They call it Decoration Day in Utah, and it's the day that you go to all of your ancestors' graves
Mhm.
and put flowers.
Mhm.
And so you decorate their graves. And if you know anything about people, the culture of Utah is it's really into genealogy.
Mhm.
And so every year when my dad was alive, and I kind of let my mom do it now, but my great, 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 great grandfather's grave is, about 15 minutes away. And so every year we would put flowers on that grave. And it's one of the older cemeteries in the Ogden area. So went yesterday and bought a ton of flowers and all of that. So it'll be nice. I'm going to go with my mom on Monday to go to my dad's grave because I was like, you know what, the great greats. I'm okay, Mom.
Yeah.
So she's going to go with her sister to do all of the greats.
Yeah.
And I'm going to go to my dad's.
There
So yeah.
Yeah.
So happy Memorial Day. I hope y'all are, I know some of my kids took extra time off. And so they got a 4-day weekend. This is like the beginning. This is like the opening bell of vacation season, and kids are out of school and all that kind of stuff. So
something about that just doesn't feel right. I grew up differently. The whole thing about it's a big celebratory weekend, yet we're memorializing those who passed.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a little
good morning, Kevin.
Yeah.
Thanks for tuning in. All right. I'm going to just bring in, if that's okay with you, bring in our guest today, and then I'll give a little bit of background and all of that, and we can go from there. So this morning we have Ron Heider out of Virginia Beach, this area, and Ron is a marketing expert, guru, all of the things. And I remember one of the things that I remembered about Ron is my dad's name was Ron and my brother's name was Ron. And so we were at a conference in Florida. I think it was in Orlando area. And Ron was speaking, and I sat in on it, and I was like, yes. Really enjoyed his philosophy, his take on marketing and all of that. And so I've just kind of kept him, like I've known who he is. And then I saw Ron wrote an article in Used Car Dealer Magazine for NIADA in April. And we thought, let's have a conversation because we talk about this topic very, very often. So Ron, welcome to the podcast.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I'm super excited to be here, and looking forward to where this conversation takes us.
Yeah, there's no telling where it'll land, Ron.
I'm the wild card here.
We look forward to having a conversation around video because that was kind of our primary theme for today, and that was the premise of your article. And so we maybe just start with that. It's like when you kind of to recap your article, like what do you feel like dealers can learn to leverage video more successfully in their small independent, especially in our audience, buy here, pay here? How would these buy here, pay here dealers best use video?
Wow. I mean, there's so many opportunities, but I would say at kind of the core, and I've been talking about video. I've had the opportunity to speak at NIADA, some of the state conferences for a number of years. And the first talk I gave was years ago at NIADA, and it was about getting on the video bandwagon. It's new, it's fun. COVID hadn't hit. It's still in this infancy stage. And I'm like, you guys got to get on this because consumers are going to love it. And we just saw this rapid adoption, and it has not shut down. I believe the biggest reason why dealers and even within the buy here, pay here space should be using video it lets them tell their story, right?
Right.
We live, I don't care what industry it is, it's a sea of sameness. Whether you're a furniture store, a food chain, any kind of consumer facing, company, it looks the same, it sounds the same. And video is going to be that tool that will let that dealer get their voice, tell their story in an incredibly compelling way that lets people know them, like them, trust them, and want to do business with them. And we could do a deep dive into all the metrics behind it, how the social media platforms are viewing video, search engine platforms, and maybe we'll talk about some of that. I touched on some of that in that article. And it's just, I really believe if the dealers want to thrive, as they move forward and are looking for, hey, what's the edge? How can I get ahead of my competitors? It's time to get on the video bandwagon.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
We see that. And I think for me, Ron, after being around the car business for a long time, I've been in it since 95 and was first managing used car dealerships, or Buy Here, Pay Here specifically, in 97. And so we've seen, obviously, across that time, the marketing world has evolved, at least the media platforms, right? The way we deliver our message and all the different methods to connect with consumers, that has shifted across those years. And we see that it's even kind of amplified now in terms of the sort of the attention span of the consumer, right, that we're appealing to. And I shared with you before we got started that I was able to watch the podcast where you appeared with Luke Godwin on the Independent Dealer podcast. I think it was sometime last year, if I got the time frames right. Jeff actually wasn't there for that one. So, but yeah, that's their podcast. And so, but he was with Luke that day. And so I was able to catch that. And I heard your reference to TikTok, and we might speak to that, because I think when I see TikTok and what it represents in the consumer awareness today, that to me gives some insight about how people are choosing to consume. And that's video over there. So let's talk about TikTok and what you see about, how dealers might use TikTok as an example.
Sure. It's interesting because TikTok has just been this constant evolving target. And when years ago, having some conversations, some dealers would ask me, hey, should we get on TikTok? My answer then was no. It's young kids, it's high school girls, it's maybe college age. It has been the most rapidly adopted platform.
Yes.
Hands down.
Yeah.
And it's that short form content. It's easy. It's fun. It's just, and it's easy to participate. And there's something with the TikTok algorithm that we don't know. I wish I had a crystal ball and I wish I was on that development team, but they are so intuitive where they can pick up on what your interests are, what it is that you're doing. And that's that content that gets served. And it's so much better than Facebook and Instagram and YouTube and some of the other platforms. It is just so intuitive and it's fun.
Yeah.
It's a fun platform, and we are finding that the dealers that are using it, typically the ones having most success, they'll find someone maybe younger than me in the dealership. I think I'm pretty fun, but there's funner people out there. And so you'll find somebody who's pretty fun, somebody a little younger who just likes to have fun with it, but still tell your story and and use it to get people, again, to know you, like you, become aware with you, and let that algorithm do its job of letting people find you. Because at the end of the day, again, whether we're selling cars or tires or service warranty, products, people still buy from people. This is a big purchase.
Yeah.
It's an extension, even in the Buy Here, Pay Here space, it's an extension of our personality. Right. Whether you want an import, a domestic, a car, a truck, whatever that is. And video is going to let you, kind of just connect with that consumer at that level. And they're going to be, man, I really like those guys. I like what they have to say.
Yes. A couple of things. Well, I was late on the TikTok bandwagon. Jim has been someone that will you get lost, and because it is so entertaining, and it's snap stuff that's happening. And I think of like around Facebook too, that when I'm in Facebook and I pop on a reel, it's like 10 minutes can go by and I haven't realized that I've just been on reels, and I've been learning different things from their algorithm. I get where you're coming at. TikTok is pretty sophisticated in its algorithms, and I don't know how it knows, because I don't find I don't know. There's psychics or something on the side that says, I think that she's in the car business, because I'll get stuff that is auto centric, and it's like I don't go looking for that stuff, but it somehow knows, because I see some of the people that we know and work with, that it will those kind of things will pop up. I love how you talk about known, liked, and we trusted as well. And this is this is people that have listened to us for a while know that this is one of the foundational, it's like 3 words: known, liked, and trusted. And that the best way to become known is to put yourself in front of people. I'm like you, and it's not just your dealership, but it's you. And the liked part is are you adding things that are somewhat engaging? We've worked with dealers that are like, I can't do that. And it's like, yes, you can. It gets easier as you go, but people connect with people. And they connect with people a lot more than they do to photos of cars with prices and all of that. They connect with people. And so we're always encouraging. It's like, get yourself out there. And I love what you said about, having someone younger. I would suggest that it will be more impactful in your community if it is the dealer that is in front of the video, because then people know the person, and then you can do things from your team members so that when they show up, they know they recognize this and the other. But tell your story. And it's not just doing a walk around a car too, even though they get to know your personality. But just talk to me about how important it is for someone to understand the drive, the foundation, the reason that a dealer has to being in business.
Sure. Well, kind of, tying into what you had said, no one is going to tell the story better than the dealer. It is their life. It's their livelihood. It's maybe the name on the building, their sign. It is them. It's what they do. And they are going to deliver that message more compelling. And I've been coaching my clients and other dealers for a long time getting into the video. It's like, you don't have to be a superstar. You don't, and let's be honest, the first couple ones probably going to be a little rough, but just get over it. Hit the record button, get over it, throw those ones away, and focus on like just getting to the 3rd or 4th one, because then it's really going to start to dial in. But just being you, you mentioned, I did the podcast with Luke, last year, and we spent time talking about being you. A lot of times dealers want to become something or portray themselves as something they're not. It's bigger than what they are.
Gimmicky.
And it's like, just be you. We are not going to sell everybody. It's impossible. We're not Walmart. We're not Amazon. We're not the everything store. We are independent used car dealers, buy here, pay here dealers. We talk to the people that you want to talk to. We talk a lot about in the marketing world of, targeting your ads. And I get a lot of pushback on this, because they're like, well, we can sell everything. It's like, no, you can't. It's like, who is that ideal customer? Who can you really do a phenomenal job of super serving, turn them into evangelists, have them talk to you, about your dealership to their friends, their family, focus on them and forget about everybody else. And you will find much greater success with trying to just run after everybody. And video, it's so compelling. I mean, if you look at just how the search engines are giving preference to it. I mean, Google made a change a few months ago where they're doing featured snippets in the search results. Well, guess what? If you don't have video, you will never be there, ever.
Right.
And if they're giving preference to it, if they're finding those snippets, in the shorts and on the YouTube channel and wherever they're going to pull that from, just being there and being present. Now again, people can see, they see you, they see the dealership, they hear your story, and it doesn't have to, again, be over the top, doesn't have to be super salesy. We have found incredible success when the dealers just tie into, like this weekend, right? It's Memorial Day weekend. Do a non-sales oriented Memorial Day weekend greeting. Hey guys, this is Ron, ABC Auto Sales. I just want to wish you, your family, the safest, most enjoyable holiday weekend. Make sure to honor people who have served, honor people. That's real. This becomes that real content. And people are like, wow, I like what they say. They're not just trying to sell me a car. And Michelle going back, it's like, it's easy to create the carousels, load up the inventory, run an automotive inventory ad. People are going to do it. It's not giving you any differentiation between you and anybody else you're dealing with. People need to see you. And I mean, right now, video is the most consumed form of media out there.
Right.
Light years ahead.
Yeah.
And with, my view has always been this, right? I'm not a rocket scientist, but I am a marketer. If consumers prefer it, if this is the thing they want to consume more than anything else, and if the search engines and the social media platforms are giving preference to that kind of content, I'd say it's a pretty easy decision.
Sure.
We should start doing some video.
Yeah. No rocket science needed.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's good. First, I got to pause for a minute. Are you good on time, Ron? Because I can feel there's a whole lot to talk about here. So
I have carved out today just for you guys.
Good, appreciate that. Because
Nice.
I'm realizing as the
we're heading
conversation
into a holiday weekend.
Yeah.
And so we've got you.
I realize as we talk about this, there's a lot of things that come to mind, and I know this will be true for Michelle too. And so this will be fun, and I think important for dealers to think about, because as you touched on that, I think one of the things that separates us, especially in the buy here, pay here segment, is if I'm the consumer, Ron, and you're the dealer, if I'm choosing to come down and do business with you today, I know that in a buy here, pay here environment, that means you and I are going to be doing business together for about 3 years, probably. It's like a 3-year contract. So it's a little different than an independent retailer franchise situation. I'm not just doing business with you today. We're going to be kind of, partners in business for a long time. So it helps to know who you are. And in this thing about being known, liked, and trusted, we did a presentation in Arizona a few years ago, and we kind of, made that presentation around that concept. And I forget the gentleman's name who we can credit for kind of, bringing that phrase to the market. But the idea for me, we did a poll. We went out on social media, Facebook, business, BHP success area, if I remember, and put a poll out about, is it important for you to like somebody in order to trust them? And I was kind of surprised that the answers came back that no, a fair number of the dealers said, no, I don't really need to like them to trust them. I think it helps, right? I think it would help if you're likable. I'm more likely to step toward trusting you quicker. But I think in that context, I think we think about the trust element. We think that's especially true, right, on the buy here, pay here side. That consumers want to do business with somebody they trust. I remember in the conversation with Luke that we referred to, which, by the way, I'll find that podcast and share the link, attached to ours, since we're referring to it so much here. But because I think there's a whole lot that you guys unpacked over there that we don't need to rehash all that, since you covered it so thoroughly with them. But I would say that in that context of being trusted in the buy here, pay here space, you mentioned that the dealer should respond to reviews, because this is how people decide, how do you do business? Like, who are you as a business, so that I can better understand who I'm doing business with. And if I like you, even if I'm not in the market today, maybe my brother-in-law is buying a car this weekend, and I'm going to mention, hey, I saw so-and-so. They seem like good people to do business with, right? So it's about that storytelling. And I'm going to pause. We worked with a guy for a stretch that is a former news producer. Okay, so like a larger market, like a metropolitan market news station. And he said when they featured news stories, when they made the decision about what went on the 5 o'clock news, they were looking for real, raw, and relevant. Okay, so when I think about that for the local news, now I think about how that ties into our TikTok thread. You'll see people sitting in the airport or anywhere. We can go to the conference in June and we'll see people thumbing their phones because they're just attention span is like, this one doesn't interest me. This one didn't catch my attention in 10 seconds. So I'm on to the next one, right? This is kind of the attention span, the brain chemistry, the dopamine factor that is kind of where TikTok is really kind of dialing in with the algorithm. And, Ron, if you'd asked me 5 years ago, you think, will anything ever supplant Facebook? We might have thought, no. And then here comes TikTok. And like now suddenly Facebook is so
never say
uninteresting.
never. Yeah.
Facebook is just, it doesn't keep my attention anymore, right? After the TikTok thing. So I think it's evidence of what short video can do to catch our attention. And I'm with the people who say, look, if the content is compelling, you can talk to them for 10 minutes. They'll stay. If the subject matter is compelling, so now I'm back to the real, raw, and relevant. If it's real, I'll probably stay and listen, right? And so this is kind of where I think dealers have the chance to connect in a different way through social. Go ahead. Your thoughts on that?
Oh, no, I mean, I agree with that completely. It's like what we have seen, and social media really brought this to the forefront, where people are looking for that authenticity, right? They're looking for, is this real or did they fabricate this? And
right.
I think our franchise counterparts, they do a good job of really polishing the ads. But again, they kind of all look the same, right?
They do. Yeah.
Cars, it's good looking people, and it's just kind of ties, feeds into that model that they've created. Whereas we in the independent and the buy here, pay here space, it's just, we can really do a great job of, again, connecting at that real level. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to be super polished. You just want to deliver that message where people would say, yeah, I get that message. I get those guys, right? And you make that emotional connection. Every buying decision ultimately, is made at that emotional level. We've got to make a connection.
Yeah.
And if we don't ever even get to that spot, right? If we're just relying on banner ads and static ads and carousel ads, that's a race to the bottom. I mean, that is like how fast, all we want to do, get them in, crank out the app, try to get them approved, get a $500 more down. Maybe they finish the payment. And it's like, let's find a better quality, long-term relationship. I worked with a dealer years ago, and he actually used a term. I don't know if he ever coined it or not, but if I need to give him credit, I will. He said he likes to do buy here, stay here.
Oh, good.
Oh, I love that. Yeah.
Long term. It's like, and I remember talking to Luke years ago, one of the first times I met him. He said, he goes, I just don't want to sell a car today. I want to sell them in 3 years, 6 years, 9 years. I want to sell their mom, their dad, their brother, their sister, their friends. And I believe it's easier to do that when we make that real, authentic connection as an independent dealer.
Amen.
Your franchise stores, man, they are revolving doors. They're just churning people in and out, customers in and out. And so we can be that local, tied to the community, family-owned dealer. The dealer is front and center, out in front, tying into the community, supporting it, and using that, this platform, or this media to deliver that message. And it can be in a number of ways. I mean, you could short form, vertical, landscape style, walk-arounds, just again, talking about community events. It's unlimited, the type of content that we could be producing and making that connection at that personal level. So
absolutely.
I would argue, if I could go back maybe 5 minutes when you were talking about doing your survey, and you talked about like with some of the people, they say they don't have to like them to trust them. I understand that at a base level, but on a consumer side, if I don't like you out of the gate, I am never, ever, ever shopping with you.
Yeah.
Ever.
And I was like, this is surveying dealers. I mean, and it's, if you want to understand the consumer, let's survey consumers and ask them how important that is. And this is something that we obviously, surveying customers is something that we have done with some of our clients, and we'll continue to grow that through the White Hat Way platform. I want to talk for just a second about strategy and execution, because for a lot of dealers, especially your smaller dealers, and you know, we have a handful of dealers that have multiple locations and all of that, but most of them are kind of more on the mom and pop side. And so when they hear video, it's like, all right, how do I have to hire a team? Do I have to whatever? And so basically, how, from your perspective, how would someone create a compelling video on a really limited budget with limited tools and resources and all of that?
So if you have a decent smartphone, which pretty much
everybody does.
And what I would do is spend an extra $30 if you don't have it and go get a tripod with the holder, because you don't want the camera jumping around and everything. That's really about all the equipment that you're going to need. A lot of the platforms have editing tools built right in. They might not be the best, but they will get you off the ground.
Yes.
And there are free editing software platforms available for the dealers. Free, zero money. That you could go in and do Final Cut, or you could do one of the Adobe suites or something that the professionals use, but you don't need to do that, right? You could start with, a lot of independent dealers use a thing, and I'm not an affiliate. I don't got a dog in the fight, but they use a platform called CapCut. It's simple, it's easy, it syncs to the phone, it exports, and then you can format it for whatever you want. Oh, you want a TikTok style, you want a reel, you want a short, we want landscape for you, what do we want? And it just does it. And it's got a free version. So we just covered the big things that we need. You've got the gear, okay? Do you want to go out and buy a red? Sure, 20 grand, but you don't need to, all right? You start with your smartphone, get a tripod just to get you comfortable with it, because what you don't want to be doing is handling it and trying to jockey around, and it'll just make you more comfortable to start. And just start small. Start with little short stuff. Start with little intro videos. Hey guys, this is Ron, ABC Auto Sales, Yorktown, USA, and we are committed. Just experiment. Michelle, you started out right earlier going to, using ChatGPT. ChatGPT is amazing for getting introductory content. I wouldn't recommend using it as is, but go to it and say, hey, write me a 15-second intro video that I could use promoting my trucks, promoting my finance. And it'll come back in seconds, and then you can refine it and use that as a baseline. The other thing I recommend all of the dealers, because it's easy to get overwhelmed and like everybody says, oh, I'm going to crank out all these videos and things. Start small. Start with one a month, take it to one a week, right? Then start experimenting with the different platforms, right? Better to do, to get good at one thing. I like to reverse engineer. Again, I work with a lot of independent, family-owned, single location stores, limited time, limited resources. It's like, start small, do the reverse, build the onion from the inside out. Don't peel it back. Start small. Start a little bit, get really good at that, add another layer. Get good at something else, add another layer. In time, you will find it really doesn't take that long to get out there. And what we also recommend, I'm probably hitting everybody with a fire hose. Once you get into it and get a little bit better, we always recommend what we would call batching them up. And what batching it up is, that's where you go in and maybe you take an off day, if there is such a thing in our industry, but an offer day, where it's a little quieter, a few distractions, and say, okay, I'm going to knock out 4 or 5 little videos. I'm just going to focus on that. I've got my scripts. I've got my meet the team. I've got a holiday greeting. I've got something on my finance. And now I'm set for a month. I'm going to take a few hours. I'm going to knock it out. We're going to schedule it. And the beauty of all these platforms, we could schedule in advance, find the times that work, right? Get in advance, say, I'm done with that project. Now I've gotten much more efficient with my time. Now I can go focus on other things.
Yeah.
Because if I'm trying to do a little bit each day, it's not going to happen.
Right.
Yeah.
Does that help answer that?
It does.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I got lots more for Ron. You got something else?
Go ahead.
So I also, Ron, in preparation for this conversation, I ran, as I was getting in the practice of doing, I went to ChatGPT so let me just read the prompt. I said, if operating a small used car dealership, offer 5 reasons to incorporate video in marketing efforts. Then offer ways to do so most effectively on various platforms such as websites, social media channels, and other business listing locations. And the very first thing that it spit out, I want to read this one to you. It says, and Michelle and I talk about it. It's amazing. Like it processes in 1.5 seconds. It has given me a ton of really fascinating stuff. And so the very first thing, it says video. The reason to use it in your used car dealership is video builds trust faster. Video gives potential buyers a human connection. They see your face, hear your voice, and get a feel for how you treat customers. That's a big step toward making, quote, trust deposits, which is probably picking up from our thread. That's a phrase that we use in terms of, meeting customers and establishing the level of trust. That's transparency and making trust deposits. And we kind of, as dealers, we have to step forward. Why? Because there's a perception about used car dealers. We have some stuff to overcome. And so we have to be prepared to lean forward and sort of earn that trust faster. But that's the part I wanted to share with you. That's what ChatGPT sees across sweeping all the stuff that ChatGPT has access to. And it spits that out as the very first thing. It says, you can build trust with video. And I think as a used car dealer, especially a used car dealer who's looking to earn customers for life, I think we've got to get to trust. And in that thing about known, liked, and trusted, I can't build trust if they don't know me. And they don't know me if I don't get on video and let them get to know me. They can see what cars I have on the lot, but that doesn't help them get to know me, right? And so this is why we like video for all those reasons. And one quick story before I get your thoughts on that. We had a dealer we worked with some time ago, and I won't mention his name. I don't need to embarrass him, but he, in working with him, is much like what you described with some of your clients, he was uncomfortable with the idea. We were urging him to get on video, and he said, well, I just don't think I'm that guy. And I said, no, you're exactly that guy. You're exactly the guy that we want your community to get to know. Why? Because you're a heck of a good dude. Your community needs to get to know you. And sure enough, he started stepping out there and got a little better. And obviously there's a degree of vulnerability, right? You feel, like any of us stepping out in that way would feel a little vulnerable, but it's worked for him. His little dealership in a small market is doing quite well. And I would say that we can say that part of that is just allowing his community to get to know him, right? And really that means getting on video and just kind of stepping out there. So you mentioned you've seen similar scenarios yourself, but your thoughts on what I shared? Oh,
no, I would agree 1,000% if we could go that high mathematically, which I know we can't, but. It is
waiting for a million. I mean, gosh.
Nothing, again, kind of going back to what we talked about first, right? It's, I really in my heart believe what can help separate us as that independent buyer payer dealer is making that connection, getting people to know you and trust you and like you. I really believe that is part of the equation. And when you let yourself be a little bit vulnerable and put yourself out there, one, you're going to find out, I don't suck as bad as I think I do, right? And you're going to actually find out this is kind of fun. Then when consumers actually start to respond, then that'll be the winning ticket. I got to tell you a funny story here. This happened with a client. It's they own 2 stores. It's a husband and wife team. And they fought with me for years about, we're not doing video. I said, if we want to get ahead of the curve, we've got to do video. So finally they said, well, the owner, the husband said, I'm not doing it. And so the wife, how do I word this, is she's not unattractive. Okay.
So, well said. We get it.
We said, let's put her on and let's just start doing some greetings and let's start holiday and let's use it to introduce people and put her on the website and put some videos out there. Well, they get messages now on the lead forms that come in and say, oh yeah, I'm coming in to look at whatever. And I talked to, do I get to work with that girl?
Yeah, right. Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
But that ends up being the connect because they're making that personal connection. It's like, hey, I own the store. I'm here at the dealership. I am part of the community. Our kids go to the same schools as you do.
Yeah.
We're doing the same things as you do. And this is what makes us different. And we'd love to earn your business. And it's just, I mean, we've seen meet the team videos because again, people, we're never going to be able to sell everybody, but that's why we have different team members, different, people that are available to, let them tell their story, let them see them, push that, meet this person, meet the sales manager, meet the tech spec and recon. I mean, that is going to just add so much depth to the dealership in getting people to really like you. I was at a seminar a couple years ago, maybe less than that, and I heard Nick Marcosi, and he was talking, and he said, he goes, they're big into analytics, and he said, we look at where the traffic's coming from, where the leads are coming from. Of course, you've got that, organic search, people find you. He said, but he finds his absolute best customer comes from what we in the industry would call that direct traffic. And that's where somebody goes to Google, goes to Bing, goes to Facebook, and they key in your dealership name. All right.
Mm-hmm.
That is the creme de la creme.
Mm-hmm.
As a marketer, I would agree with that. And the only way you're going to do that is by being out there, inviting people to get to know you. So after a while, they see that. And I mean, I've been doing this now for a while. We have tracked it in the analytics. We have seen the dealerships that use the video to get themselves out there, their direct traffic starts to increase.
Yeah.
And that doesn't cost 1 penny in media money. So to me, that's a huge win, right?
Yeah.
Because if I can get people to choose me, they go to, they're going to, okay, where am I going to buy? Oh yeah, I remember that dealership. Let's bring them in.
Sure.
Now I'm on the site by name. I remember it.
Mm-hmm.
I get a much higher conversion rate and a better quality customer.
Yeah. And Nick he's quite a character. And we had the privilege of going and spending a few minutes with him at his dealership down in Salt Lake, because this is where he's at. And, when we mentioned video, he's like, oh, not everybody can do what I do. And it's like, they don't have to do it the way you do it. It's just, it's because he's just fun. He's a character. He's out there. I mean, he's done videos and like one of those sumo things. And he's just
very dynamic.
He's very, very dynamic. One of the things that we met a lot of just small dealers out there. And one thing we really encourage them to do, because you talked about the different types of things. It's like meet the team. Fantastic. A walk around a car. And I really love what Jack Carter does when he does those, is he points out everything wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And he sometimes will say, well, looks like they probably were backing out and saw a cat and swerved a little bit too much, or, whatever it is. He makes it because he's really, really funny. Doesn't have to be funny, but it's a walk around. And, one thing about video is that it's very easy to be very transparent. And by doing something like that is like that. But there are some dealers that we've worked with that have a story that is like, I've been in their shoes. I've been, and we were talking with Corinne from Pastime, who's one of our founding sponsors. She was at our certification course, and she's like, and her father is a founder of Pastime, and she's like, we were there. And one of the reasons why, being part of helping people understand and humanizing yourself is like that she's been really open about telling that story. And we've encouraged dealers. It's like, if you have a story like that to tell, that will earn you it's like trust exponentially. It's like, I've been there, I've been mistreated, we're doing this because, you know, and that one of our foundations are to treat people well and give them opportunities. It's along with that about being known is, you know, do you encourage dealers to go in and like quantify and like in writing or whatever, what is your story? What is your why are you in this business? What are you, and for us in White Hat Way, it's like, how are you trying to help and why are you trying to help? It's not just like, I started a business and I'm selling cars and I'm making money and I'll give you you know, for $500 down. It's like that getting down to the why. So if you could just, what are your thoughts on getting that raw thing? It's like, tell the why of why you're doing what you're doing, not just
and step out of the sea of sameness.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I agree with that completely. I'll be candid. It's a little bit of an uphill battle because a lot of dealers, they kind of don't want to get transparent and maybe open up the door a little bit. But we have seen whenever, you know, I don't know where it is, American consumers, I think worldwide, but I'm a study of the American consumer, right? Especially in automotive, but we love stories. We are pulled in to storytelling. And that's where, if you tell that story, you're going to make that connection, right? Because people will be like, man, I've been there. I know what that's like. So when the dealer can say just exactly what you're explaining, hey, we've been in these situations before, and that's why we do it this way. That's why I decided to do, we might not aim to be the biggest and the most locations and the most things, but we want to be the best at serving people like you. You know, and just make that connection, tell the story. People are incredibly drawn in to that content because, and again, it goes back to that initial thing we were speaking about. They're getting to know you. They're getting to trust. They're like, well, if they would share this information, I can probably believe in them that they're going to treat me pretty good.
Right.
Yeah.
Good.
And, you know, years ago, we were at the first Buyer Payer United, and the address that we were asked to speak, and the address we gave is like, how is Buyer Payer like a chicken sandwich? I don't know if you've heard the reference to that, but we used Chick-fil-A. And Chick-fil-A are masterful storytellers, and it's you know, you hear through other, like the story of their why, but they also tell success stories. And very rarely do we see a chicken sandwich on the screen
Or on a billboard.
Or on a billboard. Yeah. It is something very different. And it's like people want a story they can relate to. So, you know, if you've told your story, another thing you can add to that arsenal, if you have a customer that it's like you've worked through some things and they're now a repeat customer, ask your repeat customers, hey, would you be willing to, you know, share your story about, like, because most customers, especially in Buy Here Pay, they're going to hit rough spots, and they come and they repeat because you've been able to gracefully help them navigate their rough spot. And so, like, just ask your customers to tell those stories too, because not just with the dealer and their story, your customers' stories really are relatable, and they will bring more people in. It's like, oh, I had that problem, and the people I went to before, they didn't treat me like that, and this is where I want to go. Yeah.
I would say, oh, go ahead, Ron.
No, I was just going to give you another example here. I was working with a client, and he actually they worked with a young girl, came in, single mom, you know, kind of maybe some of the stereotypical things that the Buy Here Pay Here's deal with. They treated her so well, they hired her.
Yeah. Yeah.
She became their best salesperson for years. And she got on, she would use video and tell her story to be like, hey, I was in the same spot as you. They helped me out. Now I'm working for them.
Right.
I mean, you can't get any more compelling and real than that. I mean, that is
Absolutely.
so any type of, like you said, customers, talking about their experience and again, telling the story. I mean, started out, we talked a little bit about Facebook, and years ago, the big thing was put a picture of the customer up there, tag them. Thanks so much for buying a car. I saw other dealers telling the story. Hey, Jim and Michelle came to us looking for this. We helped them through that. They drove home in this, and everybody's happy. Okay, well, I can relate to that rather than just, oh, thanks so much for buying the car.
Yeah.
Tell a story. We need to. We love stories.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I would say, to Michelle's point about telling the why story, I think, dealers might get the idea, well, I need to sit down and record a 10, 20-minute video that tells my why story. You can do that. I think another way to tell the why story is 20, 30 seconds at a time. You can take people inside and sort of, they get glimpses of, and I'll give a quick example. Like, to me, whether this is video or posts or whatever, but obviously for our conversation here, video, I could give you a list of a half a dozen dealers across the country that we follow on Facebook, and they're just what I would call a fun follow. There's somebody, if I met somebody who was looking for a car in so-and-so Indiana, I would say, you're going to want to go meet with these people because they're why, what I see in them. They have fun at work. They don't take themselves too seriously. If I were doing business with somebody, this is somebody I would definitely want to talk to before I did that. And so we've seen others where they have fun within their team. You get glimpses into their culture. Right. Which I think is another thing that video can take us to, because, I'll give you a quick example. Just, this is not a real example, but, you may see them on their team as so-and-so brought in chicken gizzards for lunch, today. Who likes chicken gizzards, and get feedback from people. But you'll see that people, they get engagement because people are just, it's real. And it's just, it's their life too. Right. And so it's like, this is where I think we have a chance to win with video and let folks get to know us. And I think all the things we've talked about here, the smaller the market is, the more true these things become. Right.
Definitely.
Right. Yeah. So I think it's just trying to help dealers get comfortable with the idea. I think there's a vulnerability factor. There's this idea that, and listen, Michelle and I stepped into this podcast thing June of 2022, and we thought, we'll just fire up these microphones. I don't know if anybody will listen to this or not, but we're going to do it. We're going to get out here and talk about the buy here, pay here stuff. And I think we're up to 7 followers, Ron. So we're, it's working. So You're right. But, we come and do what we do. And we tell the story, and obviously, this is part of what we would recommend that dealers, make time to do. And so it's about getting comfortable and getting out there and just telling your story and taking folks inside who you are as a company, and kind of what you believe, what you stand for, and that ultimately sells more cars than running those carousels that you're talking about. Because when I see carousels of, we have used cars at reasonable prices, and that's what the other guy says across the street too, and that's what the guy down the street is also saying. So that's back to that sea of sameness. It's like video gives us a real nice opportunity to separate ourselves, and we encourage dealers to step out there, get comfortable, and take more advantage of it.
I put up on the screen Ron's email address. If you wanted to reach out to him, have any further questions, please feel free to do that. I wanted to just real quick, just a couple of comments. George from Florida, love you, George. He mentioned earlier, it's like, if you don't treat them like buy here, stay here, they'll be buy here, pay never. Which, I get that. And then Kevin piped in too, and I appreciate this an awful lot. He says, we were initially apprehensive about TikTok, thinking it was a bit taboo, but after having good luck with videos on Facebook, we're leaning towards giving it a try. Please do, because most of our consumers are on quick video content. That's where if you look on people waiting at a bus stop, you look at people sitting at a fast food restaurant, we were watching just yesterday, we were coming home from the gym, and there were 2 people walking, and they both were down on their phones. And so it's just like, I can pretty close guarantee that they're on some kind of entertainment app. and, being entertained as they go, and TikTok, all of that. Very, very
I
much
think
so.
one other piece of evidence, and by the way, Kevin, I don't think you can go wrong there. I don't think you can hurt yourself on TikTok. So I think you get in there and give it a go. And so, I would definitely urge that. But the other thing I think is evidence of all the stuff we're talking about. If any of us goes to our Facebook feed today, look and see how many static posts you go through before you get to Facebook Reels or whatever they call theirs, right? They're going to feed you Facebook Reels. Why? Because they know that's what people are consuming. They want to make sure and get your attention. And most of us have clicked on one, and next thing you know,
10 minutes is
you're
gone
like,
by.
It's time for my meeting, right? So, it's like that's part of what happens with that. So I think, TikTok is an example of people are consuming in that way.
Again, for those of you that are not watching video, Ron's email address, and I'm going to have to spell it out, is Ron Heider, R Heider, RHEIDER at HMAADS. So it's HMAADS.com. So if you have any questions, again, that is the best place to reach Ron.
Yeah, or message us and we'll get you in touch with him.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
Hey, Ron, thank you so much for joining us today. I hope that we can keep you on our, I'm going to age myself, Rolodex, to have you come back and talk to us again. It's just been really, really educational, and obviously you're not afraid of video.
No, I've got a few videos out there myself. I've actually started building out a lot of content. And it's, again, giving what dealers what they want. We've got it on our website. Same thing. I try to practice what I preach. And I have found that content style marketing, just again, and delivering in that format, that's going to yield the greatest results. For everybody. Could I give one little tip?
Okay.
Please.
To your dealers? Because this is something that I hear a lot. And this is especially in the buy here, pay here space. We want to drive a lot of people to the credit application, whether it's a full credit app, quick credit app, but there's usually nothing guiding them through it. We started this about a year ago with our clients that, some do, second chance, subprime, pure buy here, pay here. We put little videos up there explaining, here's how easy our application process is. Fill out the form, do this, do this. We saw our completion rates almost double, and callback rates, all that. It's like all we did was created one short little, not even 20-second video, had the web company put it up there. Here's how easy. People watch it and they're like, oh, okay, this is what I need to do. Don't assume your customers know what to do.
Yeah.
Assume they don't. And if we have to spoon feed them, and especially because I know in Buy Here, Pay Here, that is one of the most important pages on the website that we want to get people to, walk them through it, guide them through it, introduce them to, just that's maybe one super tangible, easy takeaway. And maybe that would be a great place for them to start, right? Say, a little video on this page, real short, quick to the point, just an idea.
I like that. I like that very much.
Ron, I located that podcast I'm going to use the YouTube link from your appearance on the Independent Dealer podcast. So I'm going to throw that in the comments here so people can find that and refer to it. And again, thanks for making time to chat. I think that's a lot of really great information.
Well, thank you so much for having me. This has been super fun. I'm super passionate about automotive, about marketing, about video, about the ocean, surfing, things like that. So
there you go.
I love it. I love it. We really, really appreciate it. I'm glad that we went in and were introduced to you at that conference a few years back. And thank you for taking some time with us today. And again, hope that we can get you on the show again some other time.
We'd love to have it. So thank you so much. And we'll see you guys in Vegas here in a few weeks. So
very much so. Right. Yes, please. We have a booth and it's like 121 or 112 or something like that. But I should know that by now. We should really be.
You'll find it.
I should. It starts with the one. And but real quick before, Jim, that was Jim. Never mind. I was like, we got all these comments. It was Jim.
Yeah.
Adding comments. All right. And we're going to have you put you backstage if you'll stick around for just a second so we can say proper bye. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Video, and you know, this is something that we talk to people, many of our clients. It's like that's a really it is a beautiful way to become known, liked, and trusted.
Yeah, and I think
Is
dealers have
doing
known
video.
videos where it's at. Now we hope we gave them some real, insight into how to put it in, how to go to
Yeah, but
implement.
it doesn't take very much. It just takes a little bit of time, a little bit of courage,
Mhm.
and a cell phone.
Yeah.
So, all right, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us again. It is a holiday weekend. I hope that you guys have a wonderful holiday weekend, and take the time to honor those that have passed, and especially those that have served our country well. And so I've got a bunch of American flags in the back of my car that I need to get to my mom so she can put them on all of my ancestors that served in the military. So thank you for your service, and thank you for
Tuning into the morning show.
We'll
Thanks,
talk
have a
to you
good
later.
weekend.
Thanks, everybody.